This is all about absences, tardies, late work. So we're talking about attendance and late work. So here's where we get into the nitty gritty of the requirements of this class. Just make sure that you actually read the disclosure. You have to know what it says. You have to understand the fine print. It's really important. But first and foremost, basically, this section of the disclosure, it's going to seem like it's just a lot of rules that are meant to make your life more difficult. But these rules are there to help you develop habits that will help save you from your basic instincts, right? So it'll help you think ahead. It'll help you manage your time, and it'll help you become a better student. So that's always my goal, is to help you get better, not to punish you, right? So here's the thing. Everything in this class involves a way for you to basically undo bad choices. So there's a way for you to undo late assignments. There's a way for you to undo bad attendance, but you have to think in advance about undoing those things. Or when the end of the term comes, there won't be any after term makeups for that. So just keep in mind that when you're hearing all these rules, there's a way to right the ship, and there's a way to make it right and to fix it. It'll just take a little extra work from you. So the first thing is the attendance, expectations, and requirements for this class. First thing is, the best way to be successful in this class or in any class is be in class. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but ever since COVID, students have just gotten real lax about making being in class a priority. It is a priority, but especially for English, when everything we do is a step-by-step process. So if you miss a part of that process, it's going to feel very frustrating. It's going to be very difficult to make up. If you're absent from this class, it will be really annoying to make up, because I try to fit everything into the class period so you don't have any homework. But if you miss that class period, now you have 3 assignments that you have to make up. That's going to take you longer because you weren't there with the teacher and you didn't hear the lesson as well. So just keep in mind that it really is easier just to be here in class than it is to make up the class. So just keep that in mind. Being in class is going to be the best way for you to be absolutely successful. It's just not a Canvas experience. Even though my Canvas is great, a Canvas experience is never going to really adequately replace having been in class and been there for that lesson and that information. If you are absent, it happens. I recommend that you are absent as rarely as possible. We have a lot of students who get into the bad habit of skipping classes, and then they start to rationalize it, and all of a sudden they're not graduating. So if you're absent, because everything is available 24/7 via Canvas, and especially my Canvas, I put everything on there. Everything is available 24/7. You need to have looked at what you missed that day before you return to class. Please don't wait until you come back to class after an absence and ask me in class what we did while you were absent. That will make me feel like this face, because number one, I work really hard to make sure everything's on Canvas for you, so you don't never have to ask me that question. And number two, I work really hard to make it so that you can stay on track even if you weren't in class. Because getting behind is the quickest way to get frustration. And I genuinely want you to avoid feeling frustrated. I want you to feel successful and confident. So make sure that you access Canvas before you return. And because everything is available 24/7, even if you were absent, you need to turn in whatever we did in class before the next class, because you have 48 hours to do that in a regular week, sometimes more if it's over a weekend. So you have enough time to turn that assignment in, even if you weren't in class. So make sure that you honor those due dates, even if you weren't in class. I know that sounds intense, but it's 2024. You have all the information available for you to do it. You may as well just do it, right? So when you are late to class, the administration of UMont is trying really hard to kind of crack down on latenesses, because kids just kind of aren't serious about being on time to class. So the administration has asked us to have basically a bell ringer at the beginning of class, every class, to make sure that you're there on time. And if you're not there, you miss something important that you'll have to make up. So make sure that you do everything you can to be in class on time. If you're late, I would still rather have you be late than not show up at all. But if you're late, there are a few things that I need you to do. First of all, try not to be late. That's rule number one. And you're considered late if you're not scanned in before the bell. So I know it's annoying, but the school requires us to have you use your student ID as your attendance. It's really important that you do that. Bring your ID every day, right? So scan in right here at my desk with the scanner, for your attendance, then move over to pick up any handouts on the counter, then make your way to your seat. If you're not scanned in by the time the bell rings, you're considered late. So please don't stop and argue with me about how you were just barely, you're late, you're late. You know what I mean? Just like accept responsibility and move on with your life, right? Again, remember there are ways to make it up if you need to. If you are late, make sure that you fill out what's called a late ticket. So once class begins, I move out of the attendance screen and I start class. So if the attendance screen is no longer up, you can't scan in. I will forget to mark you present because I'm busy teaching, right? So you'll automatically be marked absent if you don't scan in. So the way that we fix that is that you need to fill out a yellow slip that basically says, hey, I'm here. I was just late. You take that yellow slip. The yellow slip is right as you walk in the door over here on this shelf. Fill out the yellow slip, bring it over and place it on my keyboard. And then I will mark you present after class, or if I have a minute in class to do that as well, I will do that. But make sure that you fill out a yellow slip. I shouldn't have to ask you to do it. You just do it if you walk in after the bell. Put it on my keyboard and then quietly make your way to your seat. Please don't spend time like greeting your friends as you sit down or explaining to me why you were late. Just fill out a late slip, put it on my keyboard, get right to work. If you forget your ID, to sign into class, please remember that you need to have your ID and please don't forget it. But if you do, I have a little ticket that says I was on time, but I forgot my ID. So fill out that ticket, also put it on my keyboard. It's really important to then not forget your ID again and just make your life easier, right? So I have policies about late work in this class, but the most important thing to remember is that these policies are in place so you don't turn in work late. Remember that English is a process-based class. Remember that it's all about the process that you get to the final product. So late work is a really bad idea in a class like this because late work means that you're interrupting and kind of not following the learning process that the teacher has set out for you. So late work truly can sabotage your entire learning experience. So please turn in everything on time. The other reason that I highly incentivize turning in things on time is because when you have work piling up, you feel stressed and anxious and like you want to give up, you feel overwhelmed, and that gets into bad mental health territory. I don't want you to be feeling stressed and anxious. I want you to be able to manage your stress and have a pleasant time here. And so my late policies, even though they seem like they're punishing you for turning late work in, what it's really trying to do is to help you be incentivized to turn work in on time because I don't want you to get behind. I don't want you to feel stressed, anxious, frustrated. So turning your work in on time is stress management. Turning your work in on time is taking care of yourself. So try to think about it as a way to safeguard your mental health. Just turn things in on time so you don't have to feel overwhelmed and that things are piling up and you want to give up and you'll never get ahead, right? If you don't know who Rory Gilmore is, first of all, how dare you? And second of all, get to know Rory because her work ethic, aside from the final couple seasons, we'll talk about it later, but in the first few seasons, her work ethic is really smart because she studies and gets her classwork done before she hangs out with friends. She's able to prioritize her time. So she gets what she needs to get done. And that way she can actually enjoy her free time. And we'll also talk about study breaks and the Pomodoro method and things that will help you be an awesome student. But what's really important is find a good place to do your work that's quiet, that you can focus, allow yourself some breaks, set aside time and prioritize your schoolwork before you hang out with your friends, before you watch TV, before you play video games, before you scroll on TikTok, because it's going to help you enjoy your free time even more. So let's all just like take a minute and honor Rory Gilmore in that way. She's not even a great character, but for that reason, I love her. Just know that in this class, some people, like if they have a 504 or an IEP, they have what's called extended time, which means that they have extra time to turn things in. Everyone in my class gets extended time, everyone. So for almost every assignment, unless it's a test that's meant to be done in class, everyone gets 48 hours of extended time on assignments. So it's really important to understand what I mean by that. If I assign something in class that day, it's not going to be due at the end of class that day. It's not going to be due at midnight. There are very few exceptions to that, but everybody for every assignment will be due before class the next time we meet. So you'll have a minimum of 48 hours to get your work done even if you didn't finish it in class. There's a few exceptions to that, but for the most part, everyone gets extended time. Everyone gets 48 hours for every assignment. So just know that if you're missing a due date, that means that you didn't do it in class and you didn't spend that 48 hours between now and the next class period. You didn't manage your time there because now the assignment's late, right? So just know everyone gets extended time. Everything, all the due dates for all the assignments will always be right before class begins the next time we meet. So it's not due at midnight on the due date. It's always due right before class begins on the due date. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. Just keep that in your mind. Just know that the expectation is that you're going to turn all your assignments in on time, especially because I don't give homework. I give you time to work on work in class. So it really is expected that you turn in all of your work on time. When you're absent, make sure the work is still turned in on time. Make sure you're honoring these due dates so you don't stress yourself out. Just know that I do accept almost every assignment. Almost every assignment I accept late in this class, but there are caveats to that, which means there are drawbacks. Just know that late work, again, disrupts your learning process. It will negatively affect your citizenship grade. So when you start turning things in late, your citizenship grade will drop. There's some assignments that can't be turned in late, but most of them can be turned in late. Just know that if you turn in an assignment late, I will grade it last. It's not fair to everybody who turned it in on time. And when you turn an assignment late, I'm not going to give you the full business when it comes to all my feedback to help you get better. I will probably just fill out the rubric and move on. Okay. And just know that you can turn in something late, but if you turn in a piece of work late, that work was meant to prepare you for a big summative assignment, a big benchmark assignment. If you turn that preparatory work in after the summative assignment that it was meant to prepare you for, you're not going to get full credit on that assignment because the purpose of the assignment was lost. Right? So just know that if you turn in an assignment really late after the thing that it was meant to prepare you for, it will not get full credit. But partial credit is better than no credit, right? And also just know that I have a midterm deadline that's usually a week before midterm and an end of term deadline that's usually a week before the end of the term. And I won't accept any work after that because English teachers, it takes forever to grade everything and finalize grades. So I do have a hard cutoff and everything does need to be turned in before midterm and before the term ends. So just know that, again, all these assignments here, we got makeup options for this, right? So just know that you can kind of preemptively make up a bad citizenship grade. Okay. So you can undo it, but you have to think about it in advance. You can't leave it till the end of the term or till the end of the midterm, right? So you can make up just about everything, but you have to plan ahead. So I get a lot of students who didn't think about it at all until the end of the term. And now they're panicking because they have an N and now they're not eligible for basketball. It's a whole thing. You have to think about makeup options before the term ends. Right? So the makeup options are this. You can always come into SRC even if you don't need to make anything up. But if you do need to make something up, you can make up one citizenship issue by coming into SRC and spending time in SRC, either working on assignments for my class or helping me out in the classroom, right? So it's a 25-minute period. You need to stay for the whole 25-minute period, or you can do it on a Wednesday morning and kind of get 2 of those done. 2 makeups done if you come for the whole time. So come into a full SRC period that will get rid of basically 1 late arrival to class, 1 time that you skipped class, 1 time that you turned in an assignment late, 1 issue where you were not prepared for class. So just know that you can get the citizenship grade that you want if you think about it in advance and if you use this SRC as a resource, right? Just know that if you procrastinate these makeups or you procrastinate your grade, and then you come to me during the last week of the term and you're telling me that you're going to be in trouble if you don't have a certain grade, or you're not going to be able to be eligible to play sports if you have bad citizenship, just because you didn't think ahead, it doesn't make an emergency for me, right? The policies don't change. And again, that's not because I'm trying to be mean. It's because I'm trying to help you develop the skills necessary to think about these things in advance and manage your time in such a way that you have better habits in the future. With all of that being said, right? When the unforeseeable happens, when something happens that you couldn't control and you couldn't prepare for, come talk to me. We will make a plan together. So that's an extenuating circumstance, like a severe illness or a car accident or something went down with your family that's, you don't have to give me the details, but just know that if something happens that you couldn't control and you couldn't plan for, come talk to me. But that doesn't mean that the thing that you couldn't control was that, you waited till the last minute to do your assignment and then your Wi-Fi wasn't working. No, I'm saying something that happens that is unforeseeable. We will talk about it. We will find a way forward. So please don't hesitate to come talk to me. The worst I could say is no, right? The worst I could say is no, but probably I'll work with you. I'll probably try to help you to the best of my ability. Just know that I care about you. I want to help you get better. I want to help you get great skills and help you have a really great time at Viewmont High School. And sometimes the citizenship grades and stuff are the way to do that. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I really appreciate it. Okay, bye.